Just how long does it take to buy a house in Nashville? That's what we're going to talk about in today's video, with the 10 basic steps involved with buying a home here in the Nashville, Tennessee area. Hey, I'm getting ready to go preview some properties, so why don't you come along with me? As a realtor, I talk to a lot of people buying a home, and they don't really even know the basics. Where do you start? Let's talk about how long does it take to buy a home in Nashville, and what are the basic steps involved? What's the whole process to finally getting those house keys and unpacking the moving van? I'm Susan Thetford with Parks Properties, and I want to help clarify the can be complicated process. And to be honest, there are so many questions like, I don't know, how much money do I need? What's the closing costs? What are closing costs? How will I pay off my mortgage? How do I get a loan? Who can give me a loan? Who pays the realtors? What should I look for in my home in the first place? How the heck do I negotiate? While this really is new to you, it's not as complicated as it seems, as long as you have someone to help along the way, guide you through every step of the way. So I'm out previewing houses for clients today, and I thought I would bring you along so that we can talk about the whole thing. And before you even get started, it's important to talk about the costs associated with buying that house in the first place. And there are a few, and every situation will be a little bit different, but here's the basics. Every sales contract, you're going to have lender fees unless you pay cash, and the mortgage company will charge you for a new loan, those fees. That's usually quoted as a percentage of the loan. You need to budget about 0.5% of your purchase price. If you do a home inspection, and you should, it will cost anywhere from $300 to $650 depending on the size of the home. And you will also need to put down earnest money when you write the offer and it is accepted. This is a security deposit on the contract once it's negotiated fully. It isn't anything extra on the purchase price. So if you price for $300, you put down $5,000, you owe $295 later. It applies to all the other costs when you purchase the home though. It simply assures the seller that you're going to do everything in your power to close on the loan based on all the contingencies you wrote in the contract. And if you fail to do so, you will lose that earnest money. You can expect to pay anywhere from 0.5% to 1.25% of the purchase price in total closing costs. And since the real estate broker commissions are typically paid by the seller, you can afford to use a high-quality professional realtor just like me to represent you. Your mortgage pays real estate fees because you pay the seller and they pay the realtors. So at any rate, you're not paying extra. Next, you'll have to save up for a down payment, which is at a minimum of 3% of the purchase price if you get an FHA loan. If you save up anything less than 20% of the down payment, you can also buy a house. That's a misconception, but you will have to pay for private mortgage insurance, or PMI. These are monthly insurance costs that covers the lender if you default on your loan. It varies, but you can expect about 0.5% of the loan divided into 12 payments over the course of the year in additional monthly expense. Now that you know the costs, let's run a minimum cost analysis on a $500,000 house, for example. 3% down payment of $500 is $15,000. We'll estimate 0.5% lender fees, which is $2,500. Your home inspection is $450. Closing costs will work out to about $2,500. So at a minimum, you're going to need about $20,400 to buy a $500,000 house. After putting that into my mortgage calculator, that will be about a $2,900 monthly mortgage payment, which includes principal, interest, taxes, and that private mortgage insurance. Before you seriously start looking at property or set foot in a home, apply for a loan and fill out the paperwork. If you need suggestions of a great lender, ask the advice of a great realtor. We know them. We do business with them every single day, and we know who is able to close the loans, not just make promises. Free, without obligation to make a loan application, and it allows you to know exactly how much you can afford based upon your current loan underwriting standards and your current position. Without this, and in today's really fast-paced market, no home seller will look at any offers without a mortgage pre-approval letter from a reputable lender. Now, in a highly competitive market with lots of buyer competition, as in Nashville, you need to find a lender who underwrites all of the client's loans and has the experience winning in multiple offer situations. I have plenty. Give me a call. Next is finally the fun part. Come up with your priorities. 3 key areas being price, condition, and location, because it's unlikely that you're going to get your ideal situation in all 3 categories in your price point. If you're getting an affordable home is the most important thing to you, you may have to increase the commute time that you have getting to work, or maybe go out a little bit further into the suburbs. If you want a walkable lifestyle close to the city, then you will have to pay more money for that purchase price. It's all a compromise. But as long as you know that from the beginning and you have your priorities straight, you'll be okay. When you begin house hunting, you probably will go straight to Zillow or any number of the online sites to start your search. These companies get all of your data from what we realtors talk about in the multiple listing service. We call it MLS. Zillow simply uses our information and it's great to use while you're cruising Netflix, but when you're serious, they're not always up to date or even remotely accurate, especially the Zestimate. When you're serious, it's best to get with a real estate broker who can get your access straight from the source, the MLS, and set up a portal for you so you see real-time information from the MLS. There are so many things to talk about when submitting an offer that I can't really go into it fully, but that is the next step. Be sure to ask these questions of your realtor. Here's the basics. Tennessee standards make the paperwork involved with submitting an offer, 36 pages or more, and easily can be more depending on your situation. Don't be alarmed. Basically, an offer says how much money you want to offer, how many contingencies that you want to put into the offer to be your out. Just know that the more contingencies you offer, the less likely your offer will be accepted by the seller, especially in a tight market. Once the offer has been submitted, real estate agents and their clients will together begin the process of negotiation with the other agent or the seller directly. There are so many strategies in this process depending on how much risk you as the buyer want to take. Know that you may well have to come up make some negotiations on your offer, maybe price, maybe some concessions as far as possession dates or rent backs or repair requests. There's so many things. Talk to your realtor. It's certainly a good give and take process where open communication with everyone is paramount. Once you and your seller have agreed on all terms of the offer and all parties have signed all the documents, it's called a mutual acceptance, and it's time to give them your earnest money. They'll cash that check. At this point, it's a legally binding contract. And if you default without using any of your negotiated contingencies, you may lose your earnest money, or worse, be sued for specific performance. The next step will be your home inspection. Now, that's not always in every contract, but I certainly suggest that all buyers have a home inspection. When things get super busy, some people choose to waive their rights to an inspection. Please talk to your realtor and know the ifs, ands, and buts about that. Inspection contingency is one of those outs that we talked about, and it's a big one. You can use this 5 to 10 day period to back out of the purchase for pretty much any reason, and any reason that you found. Maybe like the neighbor whose dog barks incessantly, or you change your mind because you found a better house. Regarding the commute, you may decide you hate it, but the inspection is intended for you to make informed decisions based on what you learn about the condition of the home. Next is getting an appraisal. Your lender is going to suggest or make you have an appraiser. He'll go through the home to guarantee that the home value is at least as much as your negotiated contract price or more. This is one of the biggest hurdles in a very hot market, as people often bid up the prices with escalation clauses to a price war and get emotionally so attached that they offer a really high price. The appraiser then has to agree to the price based upon the CMA searches, and those can sometimes cause real issues, possibly leading to renegotiation if the lender won't lend the full purchase price because that lower appraisal. When this happens, you either have to renegotiate the purchase price or come up with more cash or make up the difference or a combination of all of the above. Finally, we're at the closing. when the escrow company will take over at this point regarding all the paperwork and involved with the courthouse. They will do the payment, the documentation, the payoffs. After doing a little research, they will transfer the ownership to you and move the money around from your mortgage lender to the seller and all the other lien holders for that property. Nashville, I always try to write offers with a 30 to 40 day close to give time to have all this work happen. From the point of offer acceptance to key exchange, you need at least 30 to 40 days to be safe. So as you can see, buying a home in Nashville or anywhere USA is not really that complicated. There are basic, simple steps that go in every single transaction. But if you're thinking about moving to Nashville, I invite you to download my relocation guide. You'll find that down here in the comments. It gives you all things Nashville, things to do, parks, recreation, schools. You need this information. And if you're thinking about coming to Nashville seriously, you need to watch this video. 10 things I love and 10 things I'm not so crazy about this native Nashvillian knows about Nashville. Check those out too. Allergies being one of them. As you can tell, we're in the thick of it. Every house, every place is not perfect, but Nashville is as close as I can think of, and you should come be a part of our community. I'll be looking forward to seeing you next week. And my next video, be sure to like and subscribe to this channel so that you get notified every single time I drop a new video. See you soon.